Hey, what's going on? It is yours truly, TJ Jones. Welcome to the TJ Knows Wrestling podcast, where we talk about some of the hottest topics in all of professional wrestling. A special shout out to everybody checking out this episode. Hope that you are having a good night. I'm recording this at night, and we're going to be talking a little bit about WrestleMania. Are you excited about WrestleMania? And this has been a topic of conversation among Saints fans, wrestling fans. So used to talk about the Saints for those that follow the state of the Saints. But anyway, wrestling fans, everybody's been talking about this, and everybody has been, you know, talking about WrestleMania and is it a big deal anymore, and how corporate America is being involved in WrestleMania, and how all these celebrities are coming around. What in the world is going on when it comes to the wrestling, right? I just want to say this. I know a lot of people opinions and views when it comes to WrestleMania has a lot to do with Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee has returned to WWE television, and he basically has got involved in the Randy Orton Cody Rhodes feud, and some people are saying that it's not necessary. It doesn't make any sense. Let me start by saying this. Wrestling fans. It doesn't make any sense at all. It don't make any sense. Pat McAfee, the guy behind me, getting involved in a storyline that involves Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton storyline pretty much makes itself. If you go back as far as the early 2000s, when they were a part of a group called Legacy with Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, and Ted DiBiase Jr., this story pretty much writes itself. Randy Orton was the leader of Legacy. Then you had the young upstarts and Ted DiBiase Jr. and Cody Rhodes. Everybody remember Cody Rhodes was half of the tag team champions with Hardcore Holly, right? He ends up turning on Hardcore Holly, and Ted DiBiase Jr. coming along. He gives the tag team championship to Ted DiBiase. They become tag team champions, and then you had Randy Orton, who was the leader, and they were his do boys. And then all of a sudden, they end up breaking up, having that triple threat match at WrestleMania where Randy Orton came out on top. But in the process, you had Cody Rhodes as the young upstart, the guy that Randy took under his wings. And now Cody Rhodes is the leader of the new generation of superstars. He's the locker room leader. He's the guy. And Randy Orton is the leader of the old guard. And now you have a clash of a young upstart growing up, living up to his full potential, leading the company, putting it on his back against Randy Orton. And look, I have no problem with Randy Orton being a heel. I think that it's tough for WWE for Randy Orton to be a heel because Randy Orton has reached legendary status. He is an icon. So it's hard for the average fan to boo a guy like Randy Orton. It's tough. It's tough because Randy Orton has done so much in the business that it is hard for anybody that has watched Randy Orton from the early 2000s like myself to now to boo him, because I am one of those individuals that have had a pleasure of watching Randy Orton's career from start to finish. I'm talking about when Randy Orton would come out there with those navy blue shorts on with the yellow stripe, and he had Orton on his ass, right? That's what I'm talking about. That is what, that's how far I go back when it comes to Randy Orton. When he used to be doing that he used to be doing that leap off the top rope, that cross body, and that used to be his finisher. That is how far I go back when it comes to Randy Orton. Like before he was even in Evolution, right? When Randy Orton was out here with the sling on his arm, talking about he had 65%, 75%. I watched Randy Orton. So it's hard for someone like me who has watched Randy Orton from start to finish be booed. And I think maybe TKO, WWE they knew it was going to be a concern because going into WrestleMania, we already know that Cody Rhodes is going to get booed because Cody Rhodes is that classic white meat babyface that stands up for the person that can't defend themselves and high five everybody coming through the crowd and smoking pyro and popping circumstance. Like that type of white meat babyface is passe. And we all know that, fans like to root for the bad guy, right? I mean, it's like the Attitude Era when Stone Cold Steve Austin was not a good guy. Right? And if we're talking about the territory days, if we're talking about a classic bad guy wrestler, Stone Cold Steve Austin was that. But he was so cool at being the bad guy, everybody cheered for him. In the process, he became the good guy. Cody Rhodes is that classic white meat babyface that stands up for true justice in the American way. And he comes out there with a nice jacket on, looking like Captain Crunch. And he goes out there and he wins these matches. And people are not going to cheer for that. They're just not. Especially when he is going up against a guy in Randy Orton who is trying to capture his 15th World Heavyweight Championship. So I thought that the storyline pretty much wrote itself. How in God's name do we have Pat McAfee, who is heavily involved in this storyline, and it's almost to a point where Randy Orton is taking a step back. Randy Orton is looking like a third wheel in his own storyline. If you watch Friday Night SmackDown, you seen that they left Cody Rhodes laying, and you had Randy Orton and Pat McAfee lead a ring, and you had Pat McAfee having the WWE Championship across his shoulders, which doesn't make any sense to me. And also what doesn't make any sense to me is when Randy Orton first got the phone call. He got the phone call for the first time. And he basically said at the end of his promo, wrestling has more than one royal family. So everybody just expected maybe it's Cowboy Bob Orton. Maybe it's The Rock coming back. Somebody tell me what royal family in wrestling is Pat McAfee a part of? What royal family is Pat McAfee a part of? Are there some great legendary Paul Goss type style McAfees that have been around during the territory days? Did Pat McAfee's grandfather wrestle against Luthez? I mean, like what royal family is he a part of? It just didn't make any sense. This was TKO doing way too doggone much and concerned about these freaking ticket prices that they thrust Pat McAfee into this storyline for universal appeal. But there's a problem. There's a problem, ladies and gentlemen. Pat McAfee is an extremely popular sports journalist, broadcaster, podcaster, whatever you want to call him. He is that. But if we're talking about WrestleMania, WrestleMania is one of those events where you get people from all around the world. They come to this event, wherever it's located. And I know this firsthand. I have been to a total of 3 WrestleManias in my life. I went to 2 in New Orleans. I went to 1 in Dallas. When I was in New Orleans, when I went on Bourbon Street in the French Quarter, I was talking to people from all different parts of the world. I was talking to people from the UK. I was talking to people from China. I was talking to people from areas I never even heard of. And they went to New Orleans for WrestleMania. Pat McAfee, as popular as he is in the United States, he is not that popular in other countries. If Pat McAfee was to go to Rome, nobody would be stopping him in the streets like that. Well, maybe they would because of him being a commentator, but not because of the Pat McAfee show that is seen on ESPN. They'll probably stop him because they remember him standing on top of the table yeeting when Jey Uso came through the crowd. But it's not to a point where I just feel like he's a needle mover. Like if The Rock showed up and Randy Orton was talking to The Rock on the phone, that's a whole different can of worms. That's a whole different story that we're talking about here, ladies and gentlemen. But Pat McAfee, who is a commentator at best, part-time, I guess, occasional wrestler, but not to a point where everybody like, oh, snap, Pat McAfee gonna wrestle. It's not that. And these two guys, Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, they don't need Pat McAfee in the storyline. TKO is doing everything for the exception of what they should have done in the first place. While they're getting hand over fist with bread, they are neglecting the wrestling fan, the true wrestling fan, the one that would go to the events if the tickets didn't cost $2.5 million. And instead of them acknowledging that and saying, okay, we should have lowered the ticket prices, they're trying to make it seem as if something is wrong with Cody Rhodes. Something is wrong with Roman Reigns. Something is wrong with CM Punk. And that is not the case. That is not the case. The problem is I love wrestling, but I don't love wrestling enough for me to neglect my rent in order to come. When you're talking about Las Vegas, Nevada, I mean, it's an expensive place in its own right. Hotel accommodations, like travel, all these different things. It costs an arm and a leg. You got people that save up an entire year in order for them to go to WrestleMania. Some people even 2 years. They're like, I can't make this one, but I'll make the next one. And when you're dealing with situations like that, when you make that 50-mile ban where people can't even stream or show WrestleMania to have WrestleMania parties, you're faced with this situation. But instead of TKO, WWE addressing the situation, they're trying to make it seem like the star power isn't strong enough. Cody Rhodes is good enough to lead WrestleMania. Randy Orton is good enough to lead WrestleMania. CM Punk is good enough to lead WrestleMania. Roman Reigns. And you can also add Obafemi and Brock Lesnar. At this point, I feel should main event WrestleMania Saturday because of the ish show that WWE has done by implementing Pat McAfee into the storyline. Now, some people are talking about the promo over the last 2 weeks that Pat McAfee has cut, and people are saying, oh man, it's terrible, it's awful, this, that, and the third. His promos aren't awful. His promos aren't awful. They're entertaining, which WWE needs to be. And, you know, it's not the fact that he's not giving it his all. It's the right message. It's the wrong messenger. That's the problem. If Kevin Owens would have been the guy that was talking on the phone to Randy Orton, I think people would accept that. If it was The Rock on the phone talking to Randy Orton, people would have accepted that. So at the end of the day, Pat McAfee is it just doesn't make sense. Randy Orton has been in the business over 25 years. Over 25 years, Randy Orton has been in the business. So I can just think of 1,000,001 guys that could have been on the phone. What is it about Pat McAfee that gives Randy Orton the cause to pause, to snap back into being that Viper that we all know and love, the legend killer, that type of Randy Orton? How close is Pat McAfee to Randy Orton? Randy Orton has Triple H. Randy Orton has Batista. Randy Orton has Ric Flair. Randy Orton has Edge. Randy Orton has John freaking Cena. That he could be on the phone with Cowboy Bob Orton, his father, a guy who main evented WrestleMania in the early stages of WrestleMania. His father main evented with Hulk Hogan. But I'm supposed to bypass all those guys and believe that Pat McAfee is Randy Orton's day one? It just doesn't make any sense. So the promos to me aren't bad. They're funny. They're entertaining. I think Pat McAfee it has a lot of really good qualities when it comes to his on the mic work, but it's just the wrong messenger. And that's the problem that people have. And when you think about a main event, a WrestleMania main event, and we are about a week away from WrestleMania, right? We're about a week away from WrestleMania, and people are still wondering what type of card it's going to be. Like, what match has you excited about WrestleMania is the question. Now, the WWE has done a really good job at the promotion of the Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar match. That is the match that I'm looking forward to. They threw some pebbles out there into the water at the Royal Rumble, where you had Brock Lesnar eliminate Obafemi, but you had Obafemi look really strong during the Royal Rumble match, right? They did a little stare down. People started to get excited about that. They did a really good job at Obafemi going down there and, doing that, doing the fall from grace and showing a really good amount of strength to be able to lift up a 295-pound man like a child and hit him with the fall from grace. And, Brock Lesnar was kind enough to allow him to put his foot on him, right, to try to build the match. And also, I want to say, man, there was an interview that Brock Lesnar did on a podcast on Netflix. I apologize. The name of the podcast escapes me, but you will walk away from that podcast with a extremely different perspective on Brock Lesnar. Like some of the things that he's been through, like he was very open, and it was a side of Brock Lesnar that most of the wrestling fans don't see. So I'll say check it out. But they have done a really good job at promoting the match. Brock Lesnar doesn't look like he just overshadowing Obafemi. Obafemi looks like he belongs in the match, even though he's young, hasn't been in WWE on the main roster very long. So they have done a really good job at promoting that match. Outside of that, what other match have they done a really good job promoting? I mean, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, yeah, the banter going back and forth. I put you through a table, you put me through a table. The pipe bomb 2.0 that CM Punk cut last Monday on Raw to try to push the match. It sounds to me like the powers that be in the back of WWE allowed him to go out there to read the riot act to TKO. So, I mean, that's not bad. I mean, the storyline between Roman and CM Punk makes sense. You think about it. I mean, CM Punk goes on Colt Cabana's podcast and basically just lambasts WWE, talks about how he wanted the Shield to be Chris Hero, Dean Ambrose, and also Seth Rollins, right? That he wanted that to be the Shield instead of Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns was the corporate guy that they selected, and Roman Reigns ended up being a guy, but because of CM Punk and that podcast interview, it just made Roman look bad, made Roman look like, okay, he's the guy that everybody wants to be the next John Cena. So he made it very difficult for him. So it makes sense, right? All of the backlash and all of the criticism that Roman Reigns has taken over the years, you can kind of sum up his career, and some of the hardships due to CM Punk talking about how Roman needed to look strong. In that match, when he took on the Shield, I want to say in a 3-on-1 handicap match. So it makes sense. But the question is, are you excited about anything else? Are you excited about Jade Cargill versus Rhea Ripley? Are you excited about Dominic Mysterio versus Finn Balor? I'm excited that the Demon might show back up. I got a strong feeling that it might be the Demon that we see against Dominic Mysterio, and that's cool. But other than that, like, what are you looking like? Are you looking forward to the tag team match, the women's tag team championship match? Is the WWE tag team championships are going to be defended at all at WrestleMania? I'm pretty sure it's going to be a 6-man tag. So you got LA Knight and the Usos against iShow Speed, Logan Paul, and Austin Theory. Like, no tag team championships are going to be on the line. United States Championship, Trick Williams versus Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn, it seemed like he's turning heel. Seemed like we're going to get and I'm not comparing this match to what happened, but If you remember WrestleMania 13, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Bret the Hitman Hart, where you had a double turn, right? Where you had Trick Williams, or excuse me, Bret the Hitman Hart, who was supposed to be the good guy, going to a match versus Stone Cold Steve Austin, who was the bad guy. And they kind of switched roles midway through the match, where Stone Cold Steve Austin passes out. You know, yeah, everybody remember that very visual, visual picture, graphic picture of him bleeding, and he passes out in a submission match versus Bret Hart. Bret Hart leaves as the bad guy. Stone Cold Steve Austin leaves as the biggest star in the business. So Sami Zayn is technically a good guy. Trick Williams is supposed to be the heel. But as we see, Trick Williams is being celebrated and revered and looked at as the next big superstar. And Sami Zayn just looked at as a guy who took Carmelo Hayes' spot. Which to me, you know, would have told a better story, because it would have made more sense. It just seems to me like somebody just wants Sami Zayn to be in that position. Because Carmelo Hayes, when he said in his promo on Friday Night SmackDown this past Friday, made sense. He did put SmackDown on his back. If you've been watching SmackDown over the last few weeks, Carmelo Hayes and those U.S. Open challenges were some of the best stuff on the entire show. And it's not like people don't know the history between Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes. And even if they don't, you had an opportunity weeks to be able to put that thing together, where you would have had Trick Williams going up against Carmelo Hayes, a rivalry that dates back to their time in NXT. It would have made sense. I don't know if they didn't want to pull a trigger. I didn't know if they just wanted to be Carmelo. I don't think Carmelo would have been hurt by the situation, because Carmelo, who has been carrying SmackDown on his back, having those big time matches with Ilya Dragunov and all these other superstars, it could have paid a toll. And Trick Williams could have went into WrestleMania and won the championship. Now you take the championship off Carmelo Hayes, and Sami Zayn is the United States champion. And if Trick Williams wins, you kind of hurting Sami Zayn, because Sami Zayn only would have the championship, what, about 2 or 3 weeks? So you're making him a transitional champion, which I don't understand, because Carmelo Hayes deserves to be at WrestleMania. It's not like, oh, you're giving him a WrestleMania spot. He earned the spot. So I don't get that. Sami Zayn was set up for a big time match at WrestleMania next year in Saudi Arabia. If everything kind of pans out, we all know about the conflict what's going on and everything like that. If it pans out, Sami Zayn could have went into WrestleMania in Saudi, and he could have had his big moment. Maybe you could have had him win the Royal Rumble, go to WrestleMania, face a champion, I don't know, Roman or something, and he goes out there and he wins. That could have been his WrestleMania moment, not taking something away from Carmelo Hayes, where you actually have some history. Once again, you have a story that's already written. You already got a story that's written. You don't have to reinvent the wheel with Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel with Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes. It writes itself. So those were 2 matches that you ain't even have to worry about. What other match are we talking about? What other match do they have out there? I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think. I mean, Stephanie Vaquer and Liv Morgan. Yeah, I mean, they're doing some really good promo work. That's pretty interesting, right? I mean, Stephanie Vaquer challenges Liv Morgan, says that Liv Morgan got everything handed to her. She had to work for everything that she got in order for her to get to the WWE. Liv Morgan is like, you know, I had to do it the hard way, which I got to agree. Like, Liv Morgan was not that wrestler that everybody just thought would be in his role. Like, if you look at like the faction she was in, right? I mean, what she was with, Sarah Logan and I can't think of the other woman's name, but like they were in like a faction together. She was like a third wheel in that faction. So it's like like she had to basically kind of build herself up. She was the Riot Squad, Ruby Riot. So Ruby Riot, Sarah Logan, and Liv Morgan. Thank you. So you had all those. You had her. It's like I said, she was like the third wheel. Sarah Logan and Ruby Riot was like the two that they were kind of elevating, but she was going to Natalia's dungeon, right? She was going to the Hart family dungeon, and she kept working. And I think that Liv Morgan is the closest thing to Trish Stratus that I've seen in a long time. Like, y'all know, like Trish Stratus, she was just a valet. She was out there with TNA with Tess and Albert. And, like she was like in storylines with Vince McMahon. And then all of a sudden, like she just started to get better. Like her matches with Lita, and she became like the leader of the women's locker room. She became the featured woman superstar, her and Lita. And that's what I see when I see Liv Morgan. Like Liv Morgan has slowly become one of the best women in wrestling. Like who gets like louder pops? Like her and maybe Rhea Ripley. They get like some of the loudest pops among any female superstar. So at the end of the day, I mean, they're doing some really good stick work, when it comes to like trying to promote that match. And, the fact that attack that happened, with Roxanne Perez and Liv Morgan with Stephanie Vaquer pushes Liv Morgan into Roxanne Perez. And, she leaves a huge knot on her head. That kind of like feeds into it. And credit to Liv, she's out at basketball games and all that kind of stuff, showing it off. That kind of that pushes the match even more. But like I say, what's really moving the needle? What's really moving the needle here? I really don't know. Like I really don't know. I mean, you got Jacob Fatu, versus Drew McIntyre, which a match, in my opinion, shouldn't even happen. Like, and I'm saying this because I think that once again, TKO got involved. They took the title off Drew. Drew was doing a really good job at being a champion, and he should have went into WrestleMania as the champion, facing Randy Orton. But for some apparent reason, they wanted Cody Rhodes, which I understand. But it's like you had Cody Rhodes versus Jacob Fatu at Saturday Night Main Event. Couldn't even get into the ring to go up against one another. They fighting all in the crowd. Then all of a sudden, nothing happens. Nothing comes of that. It's like they just completely flipped it. And now we got Randy Orton focusing on Cody Rhodes, and now we got Drew McIntyre focusing on Jacob Fatu. And if you looked at the interview that Jacob Fatu did recently, you can tell that maybe there was something said behind the scenes, as if, the feud with him and Drew McIntyre is like secondary, but he like, man, look, I'm not like that. I can turn up. It was like he was trying to restrain himself for really telling people what was really going on, what was really the 411, if you will. And, they did a really good job, and these two guys are going to work. They're really good workers. Jacob Fatu, really good worker. Drew McIntyre, really good worker. But in my opinion, it should have been Cody Rhodes against Jacob Fatu, Randy Orton going after his 15th world title against Drew McIntyre. That should have been what it was. It didn't end up being that way. I can understand maybe they wanted Cody because of the star power, but I don't know. I think that Drew McIntyre should have went into WrestleMania as the champion. So I'll go ahead and for the sake of this show, I'll go ahead and I'll put up I'll look up the WrestleMania 42 card, make sure that we kind of cover every match. I think we pretty much touched on the most important matches that have been high profile. So we'll go ahead and do that. And I'm pretty sure, we'll find out what's WrestleMania Saturday, what's WrestleMania Sunday card going to look like. Right now, no Io Sky, no Asuka, right? And this is something that I don't think people are paying attention to as well. I mean, upon the making of this video, Solo Sikoa does not have a WrestleMania match. And I know some people are like, man, well, Solo, man, what that got to do with anything? What if I told you that Solo Sikoa has been on the main roster for about 3.5, 4 years, and he has never had a WrestleMania match? Let me look up when Solo Sikoa came to the main roster. Solo Sikoa, I believe, has been on the main roster for about 3.5, 4 years. And he has yet to have a match at WrestleMania. Now he's had like a run-in. Like he's had a run-in. But nothing like that. So from 2022, okay, he became the enforcer of the bloodline in 2022. 23, 24. So for 4 years, right? Excuse me. Solo Sikoa has been on the main roster and has yet to have a WrestleMania match. Like I just feel so bad for Solo. And I was hoping, I know some people didn't want to see this. They probably had fatigue when it comes to this rivalry. But I was hoping that we seen the MFTs against the Y6. That's what I know people probably didn't want to see that. I know, like, man, I'm tired of this whole lantern thing. But to give Solo like like his WrestleMania moment, like to give it, like this man has been around and has been like an integral part of SmackDown since he's been there. Like it's unbelievable that he has never had a WrestleMania match. I don't like that. Got to be like some type of record for somebody to be. He pretty high profile. That got to be like, so I never seen a wrestler that has been in a spotlight as long as Solo has and never had a WrestleMania match. I mean, I believe the Brooklyn Brawler even performed their WrestleMania, man. Barry Horowitz performed their WrestleMania, if I'm not mistaken, in some capacity. All right, so here's the match card. We already talked about Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Championship. We just touched on Stephanie Fakir and Liv Morgan. You got an unsanctioned match. Drew McIntyre versus Jacob Fatu. Seth Rollins versus Gunther just basically just kind of came out of nowhere. Like they just, I don't know, they just woke up and took names out of a hat and like, Gunther, you need a match at WrestleMania. Like, let's just draw names out of a hat. Well, I tell you what, Seth Rollins ain't got nobody to wrestle. You don't have anybody to wrestle. How about y'all wrestle together? Right? I ain't got a date. You ain't got a date. Let's just go to the dance together. Like, that's what that was. Like, it makes no sense, no rhyme, no reason. It like Gunther didn't even mention or say anything like Paul Heyman like made a deal with him or anything like that. It seemed as if Paul Heyman didn't know what the heck is going on. So who ended up calling Gunther? Like who got him involved with Seth Rollins? Was it Brian Breaker? What type of relationship do they have? Like what, Bronson Reed? Like what kind of relationship they have? Like, hey man, handle my light work. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, okay, I ain't got a date. You don't have a date. All right. Here we go. Women's Intercontinental Championship match. Like I said, background fighter. I'm sorry. AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch. I forgot this match even existed. I forgot this match was even on the card. Like, I'm serious. I forgot it was on the card. I assume that Becky Lynch is going to win because I don't think that AJ Lee is going to be a full-time superstar. So it's probably one of those situations where they just gave AJ Lee the title is 10 years in the making, so type stuff. So I believe Becky Lynch is going to win because Becky has yet to beat AJ Lee. So why not? WWE Women's Tag Team Fatal 4-Way. Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, Bayley and Lyra Valkyria, Nia Jackson, Lash Legend, and the Bella Twins. For TKO purposes, I think that the Bella Twins probably end up winning. because, they'll probably say, oh, man, people want to see the Bellas. Nobody want to see the Bellas like that. Nobody wants to see the Bellas like that. I'm just being serious. Nobody wants to see the Bella twins. And I'm pretty sure they probably gonna do it because it's a good moment. Twins, like, oh, they pioneers in the wrestling game, and they tag team champions, twin sisters, yada yada yada. But nobody checking for that. Logan Paul, Austin Theory, and I Show Speed versus LA Knight and the Usos. Once again, one of those novelty matches or whatever. I Show Speed, one of the most popular streamers in the world. Logan Paul, one of the most popular streamers in the world. Although Logan Paul is very credible as a wrestler. Then you got LA Knight and the Usos, where I just feel like they just wanted to put LA Knight in something because people like LA Knight. Yeah. World Heavyweight Championship on night number 2, Roman Reigns versus CM Punk. Talked about that. Jade Cargill versus Rhea Ripley for the WWE Women's Championship. Everybody knows that Rhea Ripley just kind of filled in. WWE was hoping that Bianca Belair would be back. We know that her finger didn't heal the way that she needed to. She had to get surgery in February. So in comes Rhea Ripley. So that match will happen. Then you got an Intercontinental Championship ladder match that probably will end up stealing the show. Penta versus Rey Mysterio versus Dragon Lee versus Rusev versus JD McDonough versus Javon Evans. Why can we put Carmelo Hayes in this match? I mean, we got Rey Mysterio, who just so happened to get delivered and healed around the time where Gunther gets a match with Seth Rollins, which the original plan was supposed to be Rey Mysterio versus Gunther. Of course, we know that Gunther is on this whole career killer type gimmick now. So Rey Mysterio was supposed to be his opponent, and Rey Mysterio was like, my back, my neck, and my back. And then all of a sudden he gets a match. I'm talking Gunther with Seth Rollins, and booyaka, 619. Now all of a sudden he back. So that could have been Carmelo Hayes, in my opinion. Give Carmelo Hayes a WrestleMania moment, even if he wasn't going to win a match. Let him be in this thing. Brock Lesnar versus Obafemi. Then you got the United States Championship, Trick Williams versus Sami Zayn, and Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio. So that is your WrestleMania card, ladies and gentlemen. So I pretty much covered everybody and everything. But yeah, they could have put Carmelo in that match, but I can understand why they won't put Rey in there too. Rey is a legend, one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Definitely the greatest luchador of all time, in my opinion. Says, damn, Solo sitting on the sidelines for Mania. Yeah, that's sad, man. For the fourth year. Like I said, I know nobody wanted to sit through it. Wyatt 6 versus the MFTs, but I wanted to see Solo. Solo deserves to be on the WrestleMania card. Like, looking at all these guys, like, come on, man. You can't find no spot for Solo. You got to find a spot for Solo. Look, they have got to make it a duty. They have got to make it a duty. They have got to make it a duty for Solo Sikoa to be on a WrestleMania card. Like, on Friday Night SmackDown, immediately following WrestleMania, like, Solo Sikoa need to go out there and just be ticked off, upset, and like, man, I've been on this roster for 4 years. I've been an enforcer. I've been the leader of the bloodline. I've been the tribal chief. They need to, like, I'm talking about a bomb promo to a point where this dude, like, super frustrated and be like, from now on, from this day forward, everybody gonna remember me. And they need to let this man, like, go on some type of, like, warpath or something. Like, even if that means he have to separate himself from the MFTs. Like, you already got some Tama Tonga thing going, like a separation. Seems like they trying to make Tama Tonga, a good guy and separate himself. But they need to do something with Solo and make him matter to a point where he becomes undeniable. The problem is with Solo, they put him in these meaningless storylines that, like, the payoff doesn't, like, really mean anything. That's the problem. They need to build that man up. Like, 4 years? Who's winning the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, or did they scratch that match? I ain't hear nothing about the Andre the Giant. And I hate to say it like this, Chop, but who the hell cares? Like, what has the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal done for anybody? What has it done for anybody? Baron Corbin won it. I mean, did it elevate his career? Cesaro won it. Did it elevate his career? Carmelo Hayes won it last year. Did it elevate him? Is he on WrestleMania? No. The only person I could think about that won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal and it helped him or elevated him or something like that, you could say is Jey Uso. But Jey Uso was on that path anyway because he's a part of the Fatu Anoa'i family. So he already in that number. Like, what winner of the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal elevated their career? Like, man, right after this Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, boy, I really took off and became a main eventer. The Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal is we sorry we couldn't put you on WrestleMania, but here's this match right here. Like, that's what this is. That's what that was. That's what it is. And if it ain't, that's what it was. If they don't have it this year. Like, it doesn't elevate anybody. Like Andre the Giant, like, I guess it was like they got to make it mean something. Like, it used to be on WrestleMania. It used to be like the first match on WrestleMania. And, you know, like I said, after that, like, it's a joke. Like, you had Colin Jost and Michael Che in a match, like Gronk, you know, like, what are we doing? Like, if it meant something, like, man, if you win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, you get opportunity, even if it's like a mid-card match, right? Because it's supposed to be one of those upstart type competitions, right? So you get a guaranteed Intercontinental or United States Championship match. Like, because everybody knows, like, it's levels to this thing, right? Let's bring it back to the way it used to be. It used to be, if you won the Intercontinental Championship, you on a trajectory to be the world champion. Like, make it mean something. Not just, oh, you just standing around folding your arms like this, like Andre the Giant is on the statue. Don't mean nothing. Like, they can get Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal to me. Like, that's how meaningful it is. Like, meaningless it is. Yeah, it's meaningless. I agree, bro. It's more commercial than anything. Not even enough matches. Every match is 2 commercial breaks. It's just a big appetite. Look, that's what happens when you're a big corporate conglomerate, bruh. It's Netflix. Like, I don't watch Netflix for the commercials. That's one of the best qualities about Netflix. I can watch a movie and I ain't got to worry about, you know, safe life replace. I learned a thing or two because I knew a thing or two. We are farmers. Like, I don't watch Netflix for that. That would Prime Video. That would get on my nerves about them. Your movie will start right after this, and the rest of it will be commercial free. But let me tell you something about something I care absolutely nothing about. Like, I don't watch Netflix for commercials. Do you watch Netflix for commercials? No. Man, let me binge watch my show in peace. I'm gonna be 100 with y'all. I don't even watch Raw Live. I don't watch Raw Live because I want to be able to fast forward through them commercials. Yes. I don't watch it live. I'll be fast forward, like, I'll watch it after it concludes. When I get that notification, your program has concluded. That's when I start watching. So I can fast forward through the commercials because they become annoying. Like, if I got to watch commercials, you might as well stay it on USA. They should have gotten a world title shot. I mean, but it's an upstart competition, right? It's not like the Royal Rumble. Like, the Royal Rumble, all the head honchos are part of that. Like, all the head honchos are part of the Royal Rumble. The Memorial Battle Royal is an upstart type competition. So let's just say that's an opportunity for a guy that you're probably going to transition from NXT to the main roster to win. And like I said, guarantee him a mid-card championship match. I mean, nothing wrong with going after the Intercontinental Championship. Nothing wrong with going after the United States Championship. Like, those championships mean something. Like, you ain't ready for prime time yet. I mean, you get a few lights on you, but you ain't the main attraction yet. Like, let it mean something. Like, you get an opportunity at the Intercontinental Championship at SummerSlam or something. Give you enough time to be able to build up a resume. Make fans care about you. Like, they don't even promote the Memorial Battle Royal. Like, after a person win, they might mention in 1 week, I won a Andre the Giant. Like, nobody say anything about it. It just over with. It just never happened. So if you don't care, why should we? I usually watch Monday Night Raw on USA Network along with Friday Night SmackDown, but since Raw made the move to Netflix, I watch something else on Monday nights. I mean, I still watch it, but I don't watch it live. Only time I see Raw highlights is on YouTube. I mean, they show them right away, so it's almost like you watch it. Like, they gonna put them matches in. Like, it's almost like, why are you watching? Why are you watching it on Netflix? Because they show the whole entire match. They show the promos in its entirety. So what do you care about more? Do you care about the live streams, or do you just care about the video clicks and the retention rate? Like, what are we doing? If I'm Netflix, I'm ticked. Like, why am I broadcasting your program if you showing it on YouTube? I'm not going to lie. I miss Money in the Bank ladder match at Mania. Yeah, I do too. Instead of it being like just a completely different entity of his own. Facts, I would like Javon Evans to win the IC championship at WrestleMania, but Penta hasn't had it long, and the crowd is behind him now, so I don't see them taking. I don't see him taking off him either. And Javon Evans is just there, unfortunately, to be the spot monkey. I'm just telling you the truth. Javon Evans is the guy that's supposed to wow you and do something crazy with the ladder that everybody look forward to, almost like how Shelton Benjamin was in those ladder matches, just like how Kofi Kingston is for the Royal Rumble. How is he going to be able to survive this year? Like, that's what Javon Evans is. That's why they put him in the Elimination Chamber match, because they wanted him to do one crazy spot, that everybody just be talking about to get a viral moment. That's what Javon Evans is right now. He's a good, he's only 21 years old, and he's extremely talented for his age. I don't think that even needs to be said. But for the most part, like, he's there for the wow factor. He's there for the wow factor. Not going to lie, Maven said this shut out to him and his YouTube channel. We talking about Javon Evans? Yeah, Maven. Yeah, is doing a really good job. Facts, he just paying dues right now. Yeah, he just paying dues, man. I mean, no need to rush the roast. I mean, let it cook. Like, he's 21 years old, so he got a lot of time. Got a lot of time to be able to be what he needs to be. So no need to rush him. And then the crowd is behind him. He's really talented, super athletic. Like, man, this dude, like, in the next 3 years, he can be that mid-card champion. Be flirting with a championship. We'll see. I'll take a few more and then I'll get up out of here. Says, blessings to you, TJ. Appreciate that, Pastor. I think I already read that. But yeah, man, I just enjoy WrestleMania for what it is. I've been watching it since I was a young kid. And I'm gonna watch it every year. I mean, whether the card is suspect or not. I mean, it's just a tradition, right? I mean, just something that you do. But I just think that people are like being a little bit too hard on it. Like, I don't want to be like, okay, man, I just hate everything. Like if you go on wrestling online, it's like people just hate everything. Like everybody like judging everybody from Jada Parker and Jay Uso to Rhea Ripley, people talking about she's racist and all that kind of stuff. Cause we're talking about with Jade Cargill, like everybody's trying to find something wrong with everything. And I don't know if people are just doing that for the simple fact of they got a problem with it, or it's just the fact that their life is just so miserable. I got to find something to care about so people can care about what I feel. Like, give me a freaking break, man. Like, everything in wrestling is not going to be great. Like, it's just not. Like you're writing a show that happens every single week. Every episode isn't going to be great. Every match isn't going to be great. But just sitting there waiting on somebody to fall and slip and be like, oh, they failed, they botched it. Oh, this match is a disaster. Like, man, you couldn't do half of the stuff that they're doing. And like, it's not going to always be perfect. And yes, the storylines in some cases don't make sense. But I mean, to say that I'm not excited about WrestleMania, I mean, look, it's just something that I've always watched. And every match isn't going to like have everybody excited. Does every match have me excited? Absolutely not. But it's WrestleMania, and I'm gonna watch that mug. You think Jello gonna play a role in the Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes match? You see him pulling a swerve on Cody in order for Randy to capture his 15 world title. That's interesting right there. But I've heard rumors that they're setting up a Cody Rhodes and Jelly Roll versus Pat McAfee and Randy Orton match at Backlash. So if that's the case, then no. And it also, if that's the case, that means that Randy Orton going to be the champion, because we all heard that Pat McAfee, he said on last Friday night, that if Randy Orton doesn't win the championship, he's leaving WWE. So if that's the rumor, then that means that Randy Orton going to win his 15 world title. People can never be happy with anything these days, for real. Man Speed, Jerry Roll, and Pat and Lil Yachty all there just for their fans to tune into WWE with more asses and seats. Yeah, pretty much. They're talking about star appeal, but I don't know, man. Like it's a fine line between star appeal and an episode of Saturday Night Live. It's to me, it's way too much celebrity involvement. And you got too many celebrities to a point where they didn't matter. Like, they don't even matter. Like, they just background noise. When you have one celebrity performing, it makes a big deal. I can remember like WrestleMania 11, even though the main event was absolutely god-awful, Lawrence Taylor faced Bam Bam Bigelow. Lawrence Taylor was one of the biggest football stars in America, but he was the only one on the card. Like, you might have like a guest appearance or something like that, but not wrestling. Right? When Mike Tyson showed up at WrestleMania 14 to be involved in the Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Shawn Michaels match, that was just one guy. When Floyd Mayweather took on the Big Show, it was one guy. It wasn't a plethora of superstars like and YouTube streamers. Right? It's too much celebrity involvement to a point where it doesn't seem special. When Mike Tyson showed up at WrestleMania 14, I'm like, oh, snap, I got to check this out. When Lawrence Taylor took on Bam Bam Bigelow, as trash as that main event was, I'm like, dang, I got to check this out. When Floyd Mayweather fought, Big Show, it meant something. But when you got Jelly Roll and Lil Yachty and Pat McAfee and IShowSpeed, and even though Logan Paul he's like he's a full-time superstar, you got to say that about him. He still is known for being a YouTuber. So it's like, it's saturated with too many celebrities. Too many. Like, people like, oh, snap, man, I'm gonna check out Lil Yacht. Like, I don't know, man. I don't think you're gonna get too much of a ticket spike because Lil Yachty and IShowSpeed gonna be at WrestleMania. I mean, maybe a young guy like, oh my goodness, I show speed, like, but just like the diehard wrestling fan, like, man, I ain't showing up today. I'm gonna tell you another thing, TJ. I feel like they used the announcer table too much. I remember when that was a special spot. Now it's like every match use the announcement table. Yeah. I mean, that and that barricade going through, some people going through that barricade way too much. Somebody gonna get speared through that barricade, tackled through the barricade. Everybody gonna go through the Spanish announce table. Like, yeah. It's like background noise. It doesn't mean anything. I can remember when Terry Funk wrestled Ric Flair back in the day, and Terry Funk power drive Ric Flair on the table. And like everybody, like the table didn't break or anything like that. And it was like, oh my goodness, because it didn't happen all the time. Now it's like everybody go through the table. It's like like you just expect it now. You know, if it's gonna be a big match, main event match, somebody going through the table. They're gonna clear everything off, keep a solid base, and somebody gonna take a flat back bump through the table. Like, it doesn't mean anything. Like, it's just like, okay, now we got that over with. You got to make things mean something, man. You know, you got to make it mean something. So when you have these big high profile matches, people aren't like systematically programmed to actually, you know, be like, okay, all right, whatever. Next, going through the table, going through the barricade. Like, it just happens way too often. And now it's like, you know, like I said, people just look at it as like background noise. It's like it's almost like just a spot, like a suplex or a DDT, you know? Like, it just happens way too often, and people just don't really understand the magnitude of it or the effects of it. And it hurts. You know what I'm saying? Like, somebody going through the table, like, regardless to how they try to gimmick the table, it still hurts. But it happens way too often. So like I said, it's just like a regular wrestling move. It's like a wrist lock, a drop toe hold, you know, going through the table. But thank you all so much for checking out this episode of the TJ Knows Wrestling podcast as we get closer to WrestleMania. All right. You got Monday Night Raw coming up, right? Final Monday Night Raw before WrestleMania. Brock Lesnar is supposed to be there. Obafemi is supposed to be there. Roman Reigns had to respond to the pipe bomb 2.0 from CM Punk. What is he going to say? He wasn't there. So what is going to happen on the road to WrestleMania on Monday and also on Friday? What's going to happen when it comes to Cody Rhodes, Pat McAfee, Randy Orton? Will Randy Orton get in the face of Cody Rhodes, or will we see more Pat McAfee stealing the show and Randy Orton being a third wheel? Hopefully not. But make sure that you subscribe, hit that like button. Really do appreciate your time. Thank you for checking out the TJ Knows Wrestling podcast. And until next time, I'll see you down the road.